I very, very strongly believe that it's a man-made institution based on principles that are fundamentally wrong. We get into relationships because we want to have a companion, because we don't want to be lonely. Excuse me, you have friends. We get into a marital relationship because, oh my God, I have to have a child, because I have to have, the child has to inherit the title. I very strongly believe that relationships that human beings make are beyond these.
Offspin Media Friends proudly presents PS After I Love You, an Offspin original.
Hi Nidhi, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me. Thank you.
So I'm going to ask you something all people want to know, right?
Mm.
So what according to you
Hmm.
is love?
Beautiful question. Typically, it started with the fantasy love that any human being has since the growing years that the Hollywood, Bollywood movies sell us and the books sell us. So I also grew up on that thought of love. As of today, I don't even know what that love really means. But over the years, as I have gone through life,
Hmm.
I've gone through various kinds of relationships. And when I say relationships, I mean as a mother, as a daughter, as a sister, as a wife, as a partner, as a friend, various kinds. And I've actually asked this, what really is love? And the thing that kept coming to me and that I wholeheartedly today believe is that love is just love. It's a feeling that you have. Uh, and like you, I when I see you and I hear you with your happy smile, I feel love. And to me, that is love. When the
Hmm.
people I care about, I see them smiling, and their smile makes me feel better. That's love.
Yeah, so that clears it up for a lot of people because when we say love, everyone thinks it's
Yes,
romantic love. And then we forget that different kinds of love exist. And then we focus all our energies on
yes,
love means romantic love. And if
yeah,
that doesn't work out, which is
absolutely,
what our show is about, then
absolutely.
we're all heartbroken and say we don't believe in love. So, what do you want to tell to people who've stopped believing in love because they have gone through failed romantic relationships?
Nothing. They just need to redefine the word love for themselves because they are loved. They just need to change their boundaries of what love is for them. Just expand it, break it. Look around how much we are loved. Our parents love us, our friends love us, our
Right.
siblings love us, our I don't know, our colleagues love us. There's so much love. But then we come down to that one person and we want everything from that one person. And then we stop believing in love just because that person's other person's definition of love is different from my definition of love. People speak different languages in love, isn't it? So so redefine the definition, I would say.
Right. That's interesting. It's like not putting the burden of everything on one relationship.
Yeah, I mean, how can it be possible? Think about it. Can I or you or any individual listening in, can we fulfill every demand, every expectation of other people?
No.
Just not possible. So if we cannot do it, then how do we expect this out of anybody else?
Right. So it's very interesting how you said expectations. I think that is where we all falter, right? So expecting something from our life partner and then not getting it. So I'm going to ask you to go a little personal and talk about your relationship before we dive
Hmm.
into expectations. And as far as I understand, you're in a relationship now, right?
Yes, I am.
How long have you been together?
In my current relationship, I have been with my partner for last 6 years.
And how has that journey been?
Beautiful, eye-opening. It made me look at my expression of love because he expressed his love so differently I had never experienced it before. He's someone who gets up in the morning, and the moment I open my eyes, he would want to touch me and hug me.
How
And
sweet.
I'm not a huggy kissy person. Yeah, it's so sweet, right? And I go, oh, don't do that. And I had to learn that that's his expression of love because I wanted him to tell me, "Good morning, sweetheart, I love you," right? That was my expectation of him. But he expressed it so differently, so I had to relearn. And that's why it's beautiful.
Right. So again, I can't help but ask you when it comes to expectations.
Yeah.
Should we have expectations from our partner? Should it be defined? Should it be a flexible space that you keep changing as you grow together? What should it be like?
Of course, you should have expectations. Don't we have expectations of us with ourselves?
We do.
We do. So the same extends to the people we love because they're part of our little, what I call the inner circle. They are in our aura, in our space. So you will have expectations, and then it's okay to have them. It's healthy to have them. Otherwise, how will you grow? The issue that happens is that we have very rigid expectations. Because I love you, you should love me back in the same manner. That's not possible.
Correct.
That is what needs to be flexible. We need to understand how the other person is giving it back to us.
Hmm.
We have the expectation from that one person. Let's say I'm a woman and I have a male partner or any partner. I expect that man to be my lover. I want that man to be my boyfriend. I want that man to be husband. I want that man to be protective as my mother and father. At times, I also want to mother that and be like a child to them. How will that man or woman in that role be able to fulfill all of these expectations?
Okay. So just a little more on expectations.
Hmm.
I'll take my own example, and this is true for a lot of people who've broken up and are hurt. And the first thing that comes to our mind is, I'm going to stop expecting because when I expect, I'm going to be hurt. But it's it's also weird because if you don't expect something from your life partner, are you really in a relationship?
It's just not possible. It's humanly impossible to have because we are bundle of emotions and feelings.
So it's a little bit personal, but I would love to know how you met your current life partner.
Oh, well, very interesting. Both of us were in a office lobby,
Okay.
and for whatever reason, I don't know why he was there. I've never figured that one out. But I think he was there to meet a friend, and I was there because I was doing some work.
Yeah.
The Spock, the person who was in charge of the training, had not turned up for the
Okay.
at right time, or maybe I was already. I don't know. So I think I had some half an hour to fill where I was sitting, and he was the only person there, and the security lady was very sweet, and she started talking. And in that process, he responded to something, and then we got chatting. And as we chatted, I don't know, we happened to talk about his school, and he said he's from Sindhya. And I was like, oh, so do you know Andy? And he's like, oh, how do you know Andy? I said, okay, he's my ex-husband's elder brother. So he then turns around and says, oh, Rajiv Sharma's wife. I'm like, how the hell do you know everything? And he says, oh, I have been to your house, I have met you. And I kept staring at that man. He's very handsome.
Damn.
By the way, he's very handsome. So I kept looking at him.
I'm
And
sure.
said, I didn't remember this man ever in my house. And well, as you said, yes, this is true. And we discovered we had common friends. And it's strange that we have been to the same parties, but we've never met or never interacted and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's how we met. Very interesting, isn't it?
And it's very surprising also that you already had met him, but you actually met
Yeah.
him much later and things started.
Date, I don't remember that. But he remembers it. He tells me exactly, and I can see myself doing those things. He can describe my house. He
Wow.
tells me you walked in like this and you said this and all of that. And he was with another friend. He also remembers me, but I don't.
Wow. But then, so when you met him the second time, how did you know that he's the one for you? Or let's not focus on the one, but he's someone you would like to get romantically involved with?
I don't know about the romantic part here. Okay. Because I'm 53 today, and so I was about 3 years ago, 47, 46, 47 when I met him, right?
Mm.
As I told you, in my journey to understand this emotion called love, I just felt very good with him.
Okay.
I don't know whether there was romance or no romance, and he definitely is not, cannot be categorized in the classic romantic space at all. He doesn't bring chocolates, and he doesn't bring flowers, and he doesn't dates, and When you ask him, what would you like? Can you go out and eat? He will say, can we have khichdi, please?
Hmm.
So he's not at all romantic, but his heart is so beautiful. He has such innocence in his eyes. He has such a genuine, smiling face. That's all there is, I can say.
Right.
And it developed over a period of time, right? So,
Okay. But you just boggled my mind for a bit when you said it's not romantic. And so far, I have been defining love as romantic if that's a guy you probably want to be with forever, or some people chose to get married.
hmm,
So you could look at someone as a companion, but not necessarily it has to be romantic.
you have to redefine all of these things.
Crazy.
Uh,
Yeah.
you know, there's a beautiful book of Gary Chapman, the love languages, right?
Right.
And with Samir, I learned to look at different expressions of that. You know what is romantic? How I see romantic today. He remembers everything that I need to do,
Okay.
even if I forget. So he will come and tell me, आपको पार्लर जाना था, आप कब जाएंगे?
Hmm.
He will remember कि घर में I might have mentioned कि I know this is sounding very mundane, okay?
Hmm. Hmm.
कि मुझे घी खत्म हो गया है तो वो करना है, मुझे मेरी मम्मी को फोन करना था या जाना था. He will remember all of that, everything, including my daughter, where she is, with whom she is, all of that.
Okay.
And I find that amazingly beautiful. And he will drive me from place to place, okay?
Hmm.
Patiently, wherever I have to go, doesn't matter. When I finish my run, for example, today, he was there at the park because he knew I had to come back and I get tired and I had this chat with you. He was there to pick me up.
Wow.
What is romance? Romance is when somebody makes you feel good, I think. The look, he doesn't compliment me, but when I dress up and then when he looks at me, I can't explain that flicker, the change in his eyes is now I have learned to recognize as a compliment.
Beautiful. So, in all these years that you've been together, you must have arguments, right?
Of course, lots
And
of them.
how do you resolve those arguments?
Very simply, he doesn't speak. I speak.
Okay.
Our arguments are one-sided because he doesn't talk. He doesn't argue, and I'm going cow 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 cow. But well, every relationship has its own disagreements, right? Me and my daughter's father, we had a lot of arguments, harsh words spoken to each other. I learned that there is no way of bouncing back from those things. No way. So this is about relationship, and this is about my growth. Slowly have learned that words have a lot of power, and I need to use those words. Now the good part is that Samir doesn't use harsh words at all. Yeah, he does snap, and then I have learned to turn around and say, "Hey, you know what? That was snapping." So, and I see myself talking more politely, and I telling him that, look, I don't agree with, or I would like something done in this particular manner. So I have started using a lot of I sentences rather than you sentences. You did
Hmm.
this, you did that, and you didn't do
Nice.
that, etc., etc. Yeah.
Right. Right.
And that, and not just with him. Okay, I have started doing it with my daughter, with my parents, with my friends, and that kind of makes it a conversation.
Hmm.
Might not be an agreeable conversation, yet it is a conversation.
So, do you think, let's say I'm in an argument with my partner tomorrow, and if I simply point it out, or if I look in, obviously I'm looking inwards, but like you said about snapping, that
Hmm,
you're angry, let's
hmm,
calm down and talk.
hmm.
Instead of reacting negatively to it, we call it out saying you're snapping, and does that diffuse the argument?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You don't have to say you are snapping. You need to take a deep breath and look at him or her and realize that this is a volatile situation here.
Right.
Yeah, one of you need to walk away, and because you can only control yourself, You can take 5 deep breaths and then say, I see that you are upset right now. We can talk about it in another 5 minutes or so. But telling somebody to calm down is the worst thing that you can do, okay? I mean, that's the worst thing because nobody is calming down when you are telling them to calm down. So don't call it out like that. Don't immediately say, hey, you're snapping. You can turn around and say, hey, it looks like that you're having a bad time. Looks like that you're getting upset. Would you like to just, shall we step back a little?
Okay. Then, like, is there a need in any relationship to have your own space, to do things for yourself, what we call as alone time?
Absolutely.
Do you think that's a must?
Absolutely must. Not for the relationship alone. Here, our relationships will be as healthy as we have a healthy relationship with ourselves, right? It starts with us. But yes, in any relationship, you have to have space so that you can build relationship with yourself. When you are healthy, when you have a good relationship with yourself, well, I will extend the same love and affection to you, isn't it?
Right. So let's say you started a relationship with someone at an X
Mm,
age, and then a lot of years
mm,
pass and you both have different experiences, and it's not necessary that you still have the same interests. You might grow in different directions.
mm.
So when that happens, how do you stay together?
Well, it depends on what is keeping you together. Is it your interests that are keeping you together? Or is it a very innate feeling of affection, respect, compassion, empathy, togetherness, companionship that is keeping you together? Because depending on what is keeping you together, is will the relationship will get defined. So I'll
Interesting.
give you my example. So my daughter's father, my ex-husband, I married when I was about 25, not that young. And as life happened, I evolved into a completely different person from the journey that he and I had started together. And in that journey, I changed, he didn't. Now that's a problem because he was not able to see my point of view, or I was not able to put across my lifestyle, my point of view, my expectation from my life, and they became very different. Now the fundamentals changed. And those fundamentals, of course, initially they cause pain, right? Because it doesn't hit you immediately that that's what is happening. It's not as amicable as I'm making it sound today. That was a journey of almost 7 8 years when I think he suffered, I suffered,
Right.
till I reached a point where I said, I am not only causing pain to myself, I'm causing the pain to this person whom I care about. I still care about him. I know he cares about me, right? So the fundamentals changed. That is when today I realized that he and I were not in it because of companionship, because of love. I mean, I'm
Right.
sure we loved each other as youngsters do, but that changed.
So if I were to ask you, what were your top three lessons from your failed relationships that you could share with others, what would they be?
So my biggest lesson here is that I redefined myself and I realized that the boundaries are ever expanding and situation don't define me. I define myself. Yeah.
Right.
A thing that I learned was love. I understood love, I think, in a much, much broader way because I realized love just is. It's an emotion that you just feel. It cannot die. It can never die. How can you stop loving someone just because that person made a mistake or just because that person cheated? Well, if the premise was love, then cheating is just an action, isn't it? It cannot be defining a sexual relationship, cannot define a larger emotion like love. So I understood love. And I understood that love is an emotion that when I love someone, it gives me the freedom to allow that person, or not allow is a wrong word, to let that person fly and smile. So that's something that I learned.
Right.
It taught me to redefine relationships.
Okay.
I will say love and relationships, maybe it all happened simultaneously. But now that I'm thinking about it, I have redefined my relationships with almost everyone. They don't know it. Okay. It's in my mind. And I was able to look at myself in more threadbare genuinity and say, what is it that I'm expecting? something out of my relationship? What does this relationship do to me?
Right.
And that's a big learning piece, because that's where my expectations from people started to get balanced.
Yeah. This is really useful because a lot of people don't know what they want.
Yeah,
And you head into something without
yeah,
being clear
yeah,
about
yeah.
what is it that you are
Correct.
expecting, what do you want, and then we get tied up into a different world of, oh, this is what I wanted but you didn't do this, when you yourself don't know what exactly is it that you want. And then we leave the other person guessing. We want them to understand without us even
Yeah,
communicating that.
yeah. And we actually don't understand ourselves, right? So it's important to have those conversations with your partners or with
Yeah.
the people that you are in relationship with.
I want to now tap into your experience as a qualified and experienced therapist, right? You might have counseled a lot of people on their relationships.
Yes.
So I want to understand why we break up, why we have divorces, or why do we go apart. I think in understanding, while we try to break down that why, maybe we'll get the answer of how to sustain it. So, in your experience, why do you think people go into different directions?
The thing with relationships here is that we are social animals, and you and I have a natural tendency to bond with other human beings, like any other animal. This institution of intimate relationship, romantic relationship, and ultimately culminating into a marital relationship, it's a man made requirement. Nature doesn't tell us to do that. I very, very strongly believe that it's a man made institution based on principles that are fundamentally wrong. We get into relationships because we want to have a companion, because we don't want to be lonely. Excuse me, you have friends. We get into a marital relationship because, oh my God, I have to have a child. The child has to inherit the title. So there is a lineage that is very clear, so that my wealth and property and business and
I understand.
I think
Yeah.
you get the point, right?
Yeah.
I very strongly believe that relationships that human beings make are beyond these. And those relationships, when they are made over and above these physical, material requirements of the societies, then those relationships last.
Interesting.
Because then there is a core of compassion, love, affection, support, and sometimes not even support, calling out people when they do wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But you know that each person has the genuineness at heart.
If I'm interpreting this correct, are you saying that we should want to be with the person and not have to?
Yeah, absolutely. And you need to ask yourself very genuinely, what makes you want to be with this person?
Right.
Genuine answer, huh? And that answer need not be right or wrong. So my genuine answer can be that, okay, I want to be in a relationship because I'm lonely. Let's say it's a fear-based
And that's okay. And
request,
that's
right?
okay.
Oh yeah, that's okay. Accept it. Wholeheartedly accept it. Yes, I am in it because I want to have a companion. I would rather say you use approach word, which is I'm in this relationship because I want companion, and then work at that. And things will be fine. Then you will operate from that
Okay.
space. Don't bullshit saying, oh my God, I love this person and I will sacrifice and I will have a family and I'll have a car and a gadi and go. Please cut the crap.
Hmm.
Come to the basics and
Right. And we, most of the times, we only don't know why we want to be in a relationship, and that messes everything
yes.
up. Yeah.
Yes, it's correct. It's a natural progression to say अब कॉलेज खत्म हो गया, अब तुम शादी कर लो, अब तुमने नौकरी कर ली, अब तुम शादी कर लो. अरे कर क्यों लो?
Like a mold, like everybody had
Right?
the same timeline for everything,
Yeah,
but we're so unique.
yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. And good word you use, timeline. You know, human beings evolve with every passing year. In 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, we literally change our mindset with our experiences that we have. You will end up being someone else. So when you say till death do us apart, how can that be possible? How can you see 50 years,
True.
50 years, 40 years from
True.
where you stand?
Wow. I have to take a minute to like digest that. Brilliant. So, another thing I want to ask you, because you have an understanding of the mind, is I've heard a lot of people say that today in the 21st century, there are more breakups and more divorces than they were probably 50 to 100 years ago. How true is that?
It is true. Look at the society. Women didn't have any power. Um, the religion ruled and said these are the boundaries and you cannot do it. So
Right,
you stuck in it,
right,
right? So it was not. It's a social economical circumstance. You cannot blame one thing alone. It's how the society was molded, and then evolution has been happening. Right? We have been evolving and evolving and evolving and evolving. And I hope in another 50, 100 years, someone will look at these institutions that we have created and realize that they are becoming redundant.
right. So aren't we already realizing, because if we are coming out of a relationship, we're kind of defining what we want. We're starting to understand what we want from this person or from that partner image that we have in our mind. Is it also because of that? Do you think breakups are also because we've started to understand what we want?
Unfortunately, I will have to break this little glass image that you have shattered it to be. I doubt anybody knows, not anybody. Most people actually contemplate about what it is. They're so wallowing in the grief of separation and breaking the mold and the life falling apart and deviating from what was supposed to be this beautiful fairy tale
Hmm.
that they are not able to get out, and then the anger and the guilt and the resentment and the hatred that all comes out of it, that I think overshadows the true reason of or the true nature of what really happened in that
Brutally
relationship.
honest, and I love this. Well said. So another thing that plagues a lot of friends of mine, and I have been cheated on too. So I'm going to ask you this right away because I have this chance. What do you do
Hmm.
when your partner cheats on you, and why does that happen according to you?
Let me answer the why first. But before that, tell me, define cheating for me,
Well,
please.
breaking my trust.
Really, here you are being very intellectual. For most people, cheating means that this person has had a physical, intimate relationship with the other person.
Right.
And that's devastating. That's one kind of cheating.
Yeah.
The other kind of cheating is what you said, my trust. And trust is not necessarily broken just because somebody went and had a physical relationship with someone. To me, and I think that is a bigger picture. My trust is shaken when somebody lies to me, when somebody is not able to share their truthful emotions with me, when somebody is not able to come to me and tell me, hey, you know what? I think there is a problem between us. We need to fix this. I call it cheating when my partner goes and finds emotional outlet somewhere else.
Hmm.
Because in a relationship, I'm supposed to be a support, isn't it? I'm supposed to be there when you're feeling down.
Right.
I'm supposed to be there. That's what relationship is to me. So cheating here is need to be looked at which aspect of cheating. So let's deal with the physical aspect of it first.
Okay.
Eat, Pray, Love. I'm sure you have read that book.
Yes,
There is
I
a
have. Yeah.
line in that. In fact, that book gave me a lot of food for thought. There is a line when that the protagonist is going through the divorce and everything is being split, and she looks at it, and I don't remember the exact line, but the thought was that what are we doing? This is the person that I love or love, and finally it has boiled down to material stuff. She questions that affection, love, whatever it was, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
my point is that when I is love only defined by physical relationship? Doesn't emotion matter if this person, let's say, looks after me completely, takes care of all my comforts, looks after my well-being, is always there when I need that person to be, make sure that my kids are safe, my parents are safe, my world is safe,
Hmm.
but this person is not physically satisfied with me. I don't understand that. Just because the person doesn't get physically satisfied with you and goes somewhere else, everything else is forgotten. How? I don't have an answer. And I think it's a lopsided view to a relationship. Now, I'm not saying that people can go out and cheat.
Right.
Not at all.
Right.
Not at all. The physical sense. However, it is between the two people. Because a
Interesting.
relationship cannot be defined with that one parameter. There is so much more partners.
Yes, a food for thought. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a food for thought. People don't have to
Yeah.
agree with it. But it's a food for thought. Think about
Correct.
it. I really want the listeners to think about it. That is that the only parameter that tells you that this person cares for me. Coming to trust. And for me, that is the big piece. If my partner is not able to understand me emotionally, one of the sadness that I carry in my heart is that my ex-husband never sat me down and asked me what happened to you. I carry that. He's the most wonderful husband anybody can have.
Hmm.
He didn't treat me as a human being with an emotion. Trust is about that. Trust is about emotional well-being. Trust is about knowing that if I'm going to fall, this person is going to catch me. He or she is my person. And when that is broken because of harsh words or physical abuse or mental abuse, or there's a lot of abuse that goes on, right? Then that is shaken. When that person is not building you up, that breaks your trust, isn't it?
Yeah, it does.
If the person puts you down, pulls you down, doesn't allow you your space, your dreams, doesn't understand where you want to fly, that trust is sacrosanct. It's sacred.
Hmm.
And when that is broken, it's time to move.
Another, I would love an answer from you for this one too. This is something we've seen in movies and poems and everywhere. So, do you think there are soulmates?
I don't know. I really don't know. I believe that we are all we are beautiful souls, each one. And at a spiritual level, I believe that souls connect with each other. I don't know whether they're soulmates. So the way you are asking for soulmates is from a very intimate relationship
Yeah,
point of
correct.
view, right? But look at the way you and I connect. At least I connect with you.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
I connect
So
with
you
you
are my
too.
soulmate,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah. So you are my soulmate, isn't it?
Right.
You and I will carry this
Yes,
bond for a long time. And
absolutely.
then there are those friends, you pick up the phone and they hear your voice and they go, "Hey, are you okay?" Right? And then there is my mother, whom I haven't even called, and she will call me and she says, "I don't know, beta, तुम्हारी बहुत याद आ रही थी, तुम ठीक हो ना?" I think those are
Yes,
soulmates, isn't
yes, that's correct. So it's again, this is about redefining our definitions, right? That
it? Yes.
soulmates aren't only your boyfriends or husbands or life partners or
Yeah.
girlfriends. Like, yeah,
I mean, your soulmate can be the little pet that you may have.
wow,
I don't
that'll
know.
be cute.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, look at how people connect with them. They
Yeah,
understand our emotions and they express themselves in the best possible manner they can. So, yeah, why not?
correct. So, on that cute note, that brings me to my last question. From your personal experiences and as your career as a psychologist, do you have any tips for people in a relationship out there?
First tip that I will give is that read the book called The Five Languages of Love
Hmm.
and extend it to all your relationships. That's the first step. Because that's a beautiful book which will make you understand how people express affection. And not only in intimate relationships, all kind of relationships. Even if you have a child, your own relationship with the children is defined by those things. So it's a beautiful book to read. The
Okay.
second thing is that practice a little bit of self-care, self-love. And I don't mean indulging in going to a spa. That's one kind. When I say self-love, I mean as look, accept who you are, your dark side, your light side, your fat side, your thin side. I don't know, blue side, your red side, whatever sides that you have. Accept it. Because if
Okay.
you're not going to accept yourself, trust me, darlings, nobody else will. Because everybody else is wrapped up in their own things.
Right.
Like learn so doing certain ritualistic, holistic, spiritual practices help a lot. Just sitting in silence for uh, 5 minutes every can be good. Going for a walk by yourself is very good. So developing a relationship with yourself is very is the second tip I would give, and I'm giving it in the order of importance.
Okay.
The third thing I would say is that please be empathetic.
Hmm. Yeah.
Very important. Be compassionate. You don't know the circumstances people are coming from. You don't know the traumas that they're carrying. They might be in relationship with you, their history. You don't know the scars that they carry with you. Yeah. So you can be a little gentler. Deep breath before you say something.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
A very nice chat that was. Thank you so much for your time. And this was mind opening. I'm sure we're all going to think a lot after listening to this.
I hope so. Thank you, Veer.
Thank you so much, Nidhi. Oh, wow. I really am speechless. Damn. That was an extremely insightful conversation that is going to help me in my relationships with my life partner, friends, family, colleagues, everywhere. While we all digest what Nidhi said, I'm going to leave you with a promise of another interesting episode of PS After I Love You, where we talk to a couple who said yes to each other despite being so sure of saying no when they first met. Tune in again to listen to their story. And don't forget to use hashtag PS After I Love You to share your thoughts about this episode. Alright then, bye.
You just heard PS After I Love You, an Offspin original created and hosted by Heer Kant. Post-production by Arif Chagla, Rajesh Ravi, Anant Krishnan, Sandeep Banerjee, Krishank Das, and Harshlin Israni.
The opinions expressed in this show are personal to the guests and the host and do not necessarily represent the opinions of the producer or the platform. This show does not intend to defame and denigrate any individual or organization in India or outside. The show is created for entertainment purposes only. It does not encourage smoking, drinking, or any kind of substance use. It may contain the use of harsh language that may be considered offensive, rude, or profane by the listeners. Listeners are advised to use their discretion.